Assalamualaikum and good afternoon everyone. My name is Rahima Kadatuan and we are the Group 16. And our topic this afternoon is about the community organization models. Okay, during 1960s, the community organizing is helping people of community individually. They called it one-to-one mode of helping people. So sa ganitong strategy, bukod pa sa matrabaho ay hindi naman lahat ng tao into certain community is makikater o matutugunan ng mga pangangailangan. That's why the workers realized the need to shift emphasis from one-to-one to mass-oriented. So massive na ang ginawang pagtulong. Ibig sabihin mula doon sa individual ay pangkalahatan na ang pagbibigay ng tulong sa isang barangay or community. So hindi lang isa o dalawang makikinabang kundi ang buong komunidad. So during 1950s and early 60s, community organizing was associated mainly with community chess-related effort in raising fund. So chess-related, ang ibig sabihin like NGOs, sila mismo ang nagpo-produce ng pondo para sa mga programa nila into the barangays. Halimbawa, meron silang mga proposal for funding. Okay? Ngayon kasi is institutional na tayo. Nandyan ang DSWD which is funded by the government and coordinating the activities of each member agencies. So until now, ganito pa rin ang practices. Bago magsagawa ng programa ang mga workers, may coordination muna ito sa iba't ibang agencies para maiwasan ang duplication of services. And the three models of community organizations are community development, social planning, and social action. So under sa community development, we have the locality development. So sa locality development, as stated in a UN publication, community development can be tentatively defined as a process. So, ibig sabihin, it cannot be done overnight. Dumadaan muna ito sa iba't ibang hakbang sa tulong ng mga community officials at mga tao na nakatira sa barangay na yon. So, we have here the themes that emphasis in locality development. The first one is democratic procedures. So dito, halimbawa, kung may mga gagawing ordinansa sa isang barangay, dapat dumadaan ito sa democratic procedures. Ibig sabihin, pag-uusapan ito ng mga barangay officials at mga purok leaders. Ibig sabihin, hindi lang isa ang magdedesisyon. Pagkakasunduan ito ng marami bago maipatupad. The next is voluntary cooperation. So, from the word itself, voluntary, so walang pilitan. May kalayaan ng bawat tao na mag-decide. The third one is self-help. The self-help, it is considered as a process of social action. So, dito naman, the people of community organize themselves for planning action. So, nagkakaroon ng mga plano ang bawat individual or grupo upang matugunan at mabigyan ng kalutasan ang mga problema na mayroon sa isang community. The fourth one is development of indigenous leadership. So dito naman, ito yung mga tribal community. So sa bawat tribo, meron silang pinipiling chief or leader na nagsisilbing boses nila. So ang leader na ito ang nag-i-introduce dun sa mga workers kung ano ang kanilang gustong tulong na makuha. And then the last is the education. So bilang isang social worker, isa sa mga pinagtutunan natin ng pansin sa isang community is education. Kung ang majority ba ng nakatira doon ay may pinag-aralan o mas marami ang wala. So hanggang dito lang po ang coverage ng aking report. Thank you and have a nice day.
Social planning. The social planning approach emphasizes a technical process of problem solving with regard to substantive social problem. So, meaning to say, yung problem solving approach na gagawin dito must be improvised o depende sa substantive social problem. Kung gaano na ba kasubstantial yung problem na kinakaharap ng isang community, kung gaano na ba ka-crucial o kung gaano na ba kagulo yung community na yon. So, what are these social problem that require the technical process of problem solving? So, first is delinquency, housing, and mental health. Once you say delinquency, ito na siya, more na siya kung gaano na ba kadami yung nangyayari sa isang lugar. Like, for example, yung patayan, nakawan, and so on. Then, sa housing naman, kung gaano na ba kadami yung mga bahay or squatter area, something like that, na maraming mga bahay na hindi na pwedeng tirhan kasi kahit sa isang hangin lang is masisira na ito. Then, sa mental health naman, kung doon ba sa community na yun is nakakaranas ng depression o maraming record case ng depression, halimbawa is family problem or pangaraw-araw na buhay, ganun. Sa pagkakaintindi ko dito sa social planning, before ka mag-jump sa actual process ng pag-help mo sa isang tao or community, hindi agad-agad na isosolve mo siya. Dapat meron siyang social planning. Ibig sabihin, magplaplano ka muna. Mag-gather ka ng mga information, ano nga ba yung mga bagay-bagay na may connection sa problem na yon. Aside sa real problem, ano yung possible pa na magiging problem din. So, dito sa social planning na ito is, halimbawa, matapos kang maggawa ng or makagather ng information is, susulat mo siya step by step. Ano yung goal mo, kung paano ito or ano ang pwedeng gawin para matulungan yung tao or isang community. Social action. The social action approach presupposes a disadvantaged segment of the population that need to be organized. So, dito sa social action, after mo mag-gather ng information and so on, then matapos ka magplano, then actual na siya. So, dito sa social action is kikilos ka na. So, ang aim nila dito sa social action is basic changing of major institution or community. So, ang aim nila ay mapabago yung malaking part ng isang community by giving redistribution o pagbibigay ulit ng power, ng resource o decision making. So, dito sa resource, pwedeng goods, pera, materials, and other. And decision making naman is tutulungan nila sa paggawa ng decision or ano yung pipiliin nilang decision sa buhay. Bali, action na siya. Dito lahat sa social planning na gagawan mo muna ng step by step yung goal mo, kung ano yung pwede mong gawin. Dito sa social action is actual na tutulungan mo na yung tao or isang community.
Goal categories. Goals in the community organization literature are almost always referred to as tasks and process, which means in the community organization, they are focused to the task, meaning a piece of work to be done, and the process, which means a series of the actions or steps taken in order to achieve a particular end. Murray Ross, another author, characterized this set of goals as community integration and community capacity. So, what is community integration? Community integration designed to help person to optimize or make the best to their personal, social, and vocational competency to live successfully in the community. And the community capacity is defined as the interaction of human capital, organizational resources, and social capital existing in a given community that can be leveraged or borrowed to solve collective problems to improve or maintain the well-being of a given community. Locality development. Process goals receive heavy emphasis. They are most likely focused on the process goals. So, for example, is the education. Hindi naman pwede na kapag nakapag-aral ka is kailangan grade 1 ka, tapos pag matalino ka, magka-college ka agad. Syempre, kailangan ng process. Kailangan ng step by step bago mo makamit yung goal mo. Social planning. Stress is placed on the task goals oriented toward the solution of substantive social problem. They are focusing to the task goals and kung paano masusolusyonan yung pinakamatinding suliranin sa komunidad. So, kunwari ako, social worker ako. And then, yung task goal ko is yung masolusyonan ko yung problema ng client ko. Kailangan na suriing mabuti yung problema bago makamit yung goal ko na masolusyonan yung problema niya. Social action may lean in the direction of either task goals or process goals. Kasi dito, nakadepende naman sa desisyon ng otoridad yung magiging outcome ng goals nito. For example, in the barangay community. So, yung decision is manggagaling doon sa punong barangay. Assumptions regarding community structure and problem conditions. In Model A, locality development, the local community is frequently seen as overshadowed by the larger society, lacking in fruitful human relationship and problem-solving skills. So, in locality development, madalas na nakikitang problema dito ay madalas nasasapawan sila ng mas malalaking lipunan. Kulang sa pagkakaisa ang mga tao at dahil doon, nahihirapan sila sa pagtugon ng problema sa kanilang komunidad. In Model B, social planning, the planner is likely to see the community as comprised of substantive social problem condition. Or in reality, it is full of negative consequences for larger member of people and behavior that needs to be addressed on o pagtuunan ng pansin. In Model C, social action, the practitioner would more likely view the community as comprised of hierarchy of privilege and power. Unlike sa locality development at social planning, the problem is within the people of the community and someone is obliged to solve the problem with the help of its people. Dito naman, the official is the one who has an authority to decide what is best for others, the one who has the ability to decide who will have access to resources, or the one who has the capacity to exercise control to others.
Basic change strategy. Locality development. The change strategy may be characterized as let's all get together and talk this over, or which means they will look upon the problem and talk over it so that they can decide a better solution.
In social planning, the basic change strategy is one of let's get the fact then take the logical next step. So the change strategy here is focusing about facts and the next steps will be analyzed by the practitioner. In social action, the change strategy may be articulated as let's organize to destroy our oppressor. So, these dominant groups will make an action against their oppressor by the command of their official authorities. Characteristic change tactics and techniques. Here in characteristics, the locality development tactics of consensus are stressed, that is discussion and communication among a wide range of different individuals, groups, and functions. So, their tactic is to communicate and discuss the problem to different groups and individuals in their community. Kumbaga, they don't decide on their own. Here in social planning naman, fact-finding, and analytical skills are important. So, it is important to them the analytic skills since they were really within the facts so that they can solve without making mistakes. Social action. Conflict tactics are emphasized, including methods such as confrontation and direct action. So, conflict tactics here is when the authority take a direct action is they were most likely taking risks, whether the outcome will be good to their community or not. Practitioner roles and medium of change. Locality development. The practitioner characteristic role is that of an enable or encourage. The practitioner characteristic in locality development is to make something possible and put hopes to the people of the community. In social planning naman, more technical or expert. It is not easy to this practitioner to follow logical step without knowledge to its field. It is necessary to the practitioner in social planning that he or she an expert so they can avoid conflicts. Social action. Model action is likely to incorporate the advocate and activist role. So, in social action, the practitioner role is to be able to include everyone in their community to their advocacy and social changes. Orientation towards power structure. Locality development, the power structure is included within an all-embracing concept of community. The power structure is the one who support and interact positively with other individuals in all types of community. Social planning. The power structure is usually present as sponsor or employer of the practitioner. So, it is most likely the institute or the one who gives the task to the practitioner. Social action. The power structure is seen as outside target of action. It is because of the authority of an official who is having control to its community or organization. Boundary definition of the community client system or constituency. Locality development. The total community, usually a geographic entity such as city, neighborhood, or village in the client system, which means generalized or large number of people that lives in city, village in the client system that includes both the client and members of client support network. Social planning. The client system might be either a total geographic community or some area or functional subpart of it. The client system in social planning can be both the whole community and maybe some subpart of the community's social unit. Social action. The client is usually considered of as some community subpart or segment. In social action, the client here is subpart of the community, which means it is not the whole community. It is someone who lives in your community. It can be a social unit with commonality such as norms, religion, values, or identity.
Assumptions regarding interests of community subparts. Locality development. The interests of values and factions in the community are seen as basically reconcilable and responsive to the influence of rational persuasion, communication, and mutual goodwill. Nakikita basically na nabubuo ang kanilang interest based sa katuwiran ng ibang tao, pwedeng individual or group. Social planning. There is no pervasive assumption about the degree of interactability of conflicting interests. Di na ma-identify ang interest, kaya practical or pragmatic ang approach na ginagamit. Ibig sabihin, nagiging practical ang worker kung anong mas mainam na gawin. Social action assumes that interests among community subpart are at variance and not reconcilable. Social action. Magkaiba-iba ang interes ng mga tao, kaya nagkakaroon ng gulo, kaya dun ka nagkakaroon ng legislation o mga rules para maiwasan ang violent reactions of each group. Ibig sabihin, para mapanatili mo ang kaayusan at maipatupad ang mga programa ng walang gulo dahil may naset ka ng rules.
Glandon A. Schubert classifies concept of the public interest into three categories. Schubert was largely responsible for creating two subdisciplines within political science: judicial behavior and biopolitical behavior. Fast forward, during 1970s, Schubert recognized that there must be biological basis for the attitude and behavior of judges and all human. From that point on, while he continued to contribute to the field of judicial behavior, his research and publications increasingly focused on the relation between the life, science, and political broadly, beginning with corporation, cognition, and communication.